Wheel drive.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock noon. We'll call the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting to order. Our last meeting was on June 12th, 2024. I'd like to make an approval of the last meeting minutes on June 12th. So if I get a first and second.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second it, but there's the one note there of the 3.5 bus storage and office that we haven't hired an architect at this point yet.
Right.
With that correction, I'll make a second.
Okay, morning, approved and seconded. So I would just like to take a moment to recognize some folks in the audience. We have two folks from the League of Women Voters who came to visit us. Ruth Ann Webster is the one, and I'm not sure the other gal's name. I'm sorry. Deb Eglin. Thank you for coming. We had done some outreach for them during the election, and then Ruth Ann and another gal came and visited with us about the Heartland and Herman Express. So I told them about the meeting, so they came and want to see the goings on of what we're doing here. So thank you for coming, ladies.
We should act in the first and second just for the voice vote, whatever.
We have to all approve the minutes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we did that. I'm sorry. So we, first and second, you,
And then everybody.
Eric and Scott, and then everybody,
All in favor?
all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. So we're gonna get on with our business here. Just a little update on the electric buses since the last time we met. The state has offered and told us that both of our electric buses now will be 100% covered. At one point, we were, one bus was going to be 100% covered through the Better Grant, and now, not sure what happened, but now both buses will be 100% covered under that grant. So there'll be no city share for the cost of that vehicle. So that'll be exciting.
What's the timing on that? When it's coming?
So we've just applied now to get the buses. It's a slow process. And later on in the meeting, I'll be letting you know that the city of Morris and Arrowhead Transit had applied for a grant back in 2021, and they'll just be receiving their electric buses in first quarter of 25. So the problem is it's a manufacturing issue. There's only one or two companies right now that are doing this work. There were some others, but they had gone out of business. So because there was such a part supply shortage like we were dealing with when we were getting our gas buses. So that's why there's such a short, it's taking so long. So, but the city of Morris is the closest facility closest to us. So when they get our new buses, there'll be the 4 transit systems that are getting the electric buses are going to be making a trip up there. So if we have room, if anyone on the committee is interested in taking a look at what they look like and what kind of a setup they have up there in Morris, you'd be more than welcome to come along. So, but I'll let you know a date as we get closer, because I just kind of want to see what the buses are going to look like and what the infrastructure that they had to put in place since it's all so new. So
How they're storing and.
yeah, yeah.
Charging and all that.
Yeah, because they were able to get money in their grant to retrofit their locations. So when I get that date, I'll be sure to let the committee know, and whoever would like to ride along, we'll make that happen. So
Did you get the money to retrofit?
so part of the grant, as we've said before, will cover the retrofitting of the building, the Elixir building that we'll be talking about just in a little bit too. So that'll include all of the infrastructure needed to bring the power into that building and the charging facilities. as well as we might be able to get some other things, like some garage door type things, because right now that building only has one door that would fit the bus. We'll need a couple doors to do that. So the grant, there will be some dollars in there to do some other retrofitting. Hopefully that we'll be able to put some dollars in there for bus cleaning stations too, even though it'll benefit all of Heartland and Herman. We're going to try and get as much out of that grant as we can.
The wash bay.
Some sort of a wash. Won't be an automatic one, but it'll be some sort of a wash facility that we'll be able to get in there. So hopefully the grant will cover anything that we can deem necessary for the electric buses. So
And they're talking, that should be at 100%?
those will be all at 100% coverage. Yep. So anything we can get under that grant. If we have to train, we'll probably have to train our mechanics up the highway department, and any training that they would need, any training that the city would see an EMT for putting on electrical fire buses will be included in that grant too. So as we move forward, we'll have to have more discussions with EMTs and fire department. And Chuck Spaeth Ford, who will work on the buses, told me that their staff has already been trained because they already have the Ford Lightning and the Ford Mach vehicles. So they're basically all ready to go, but there is money in the grant for that kind of stuff too. So.
We'd like our mechanics that are county mechanics to be trained.
Yeah, yep, because if we had something kind of minor go wrong, we'd kind of like them to help us out, and our staff too, that are going to drive that bus too, because it's a different way when you drive an electric vehicle. It's different. It's a different way of driving. So, and you get used to it pretty quickly once you start driving them, because there's a little needle in there that kind of tells you you're doing a good job or a bad job. So, but those again are things we'll see when we go to Morris too. So,
How far is Morris? I'm not familiar with.
I think it's about 2.5 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. It's a drive, but it's closer than going all the way up to Duluth or Gilbert, Minnesota. So, we also, the Herman Express participated in the Parade of Lights for the day after Christmas, and was a good reception. I think it was well received. I'm not sure if any of you seen it in there, but Sarah's doing a good job of getting it out there and showing people, what it's all about. So
Did we have Herman and Heartland?
we didn't put Heartland in there. No, we just had the Herman bus in there because it's a cost of $50. It's not a huge cost, but then you have staff time and things too. So we kind of try and limit how much we're in.
Everybody has seen both, I'm sure, for the most part.
Right. Yep. And she did a nice job. She put lights on it and wrote on the windows, and we're still have the writing on the windows. So Sarah. Yep. And she'll be joining us here shortly with some updates. We've been training the staff. Any new staff that we hire are trained on both Herman and Heartland. So we have the flexibility there. And most of our older staff or staff that have been there are trained on it as well. So.
It's too bad we couldn't get an electric bus to go up to Morris to tour.
Yeah. Could see how far it goes. Yeah. Well, they got the electric truck, right?
Right,
The highway department.
And that's worked out quite well, as long as there's a load. They were pulling a trailer with it, and that
It
ain't gonna.
took a
ain't
lot of
gonna
juice.
happen.
Yeah. It's more of like their transport. If they're going to go from here
Transport
to come
stuff,
free,
and
or
you're gonna need something to throw in the back, tools or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But as far as to use it for transportation of other heavier, tar pot or whatever, it
Yeah.
sucked the juice pretty.
I
pretty
understood
quick.
that. Yeah, that it really took the juice out. As long as you're visiting, Scott, can you tell us some more about the Elixir building, which is the Enterprise
Sure.
MRCI building that the
Yep.
county?
We should probably be wrapping things up there. This Friday is our last official meeting with the board, with that board before it dissolves. I would imagine, I think, probably the 1st of January would be the the actual turnover. We've signed paperwork to go ahead with the purchase, but it really hasn't processed until the money changes hands. So that I am guessing is going to be probably early January sometime. We did talk about as soon as this does happen, if there's requirements that you are up for this grants and stuff, if you got to get dates, some stuff in by certain dates, whatever, that's putting pressure on you. We'd need to know what those dates are and whatnot, so that we could try to plan that as, as best as possible to
Right,
to help
right.
you out with that. We look at a number of different things there as far as to revamp the building and to get what would be needed in there. Obviously, we're going to need your assistance and whatnot once we get to that point, but we will be sure to let you first know that it's ready to be looked at and started the process. So
Perfect.
other than that, there isn't a whole lot else that's happening there. Like I said, this Friday is the last of the Community Health Board, Brown-Nicollet Community Health Board meeting, joint
Okay.
powers board.
Okay.
So we'll know a little more after that, but we are purchasing it, and it's going at
It's a done deal, basically, then,
basically,
for
yeah,
the most
but
part.
not legally, I suppose.
Right. So it was a Brown and
So we have to
Nicollet.
stay out of there until
Till
that
then,
happens.
sure,
So-
sure. Yeah, it was a Brown and Nicollet County building that was some years ago was purchased through a grant with the federal government, correct? And
And
then,
actually, Sibley County, I think, was involved with it for
At one
a
point.
short period of time, and then they had dropped out. The building was a old mobile home manufacturing building. That's I think was Skyline. Was the name of the trailers they made. But it's a good building. It's been well taken care of, and so I think it's going to. Even if we need to add a part to the structure, there's room to do that as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really nice addition and work out really well for.
yeah, we're really excited about it too. So if anyone knows the building, the back part where the warehouse is, where there's warehouse dock doors that face J&R Shugo, we won't be obviously able to use those doors, but there's a door just to the left of that has a large garage door that we'll be able to go in and out of. The door on the other side that faces Dietrich Specialties will need to be made bigger. That's the only door that, so we'll just have one in and one out is what the architect kind of said because of the slope of that building. If you go on the other side, it really slopes down towards the river. That it'd be very costly to do a different door there. So when the consultant was in and did some preliminary drawings, Ann was part of that meeting. He did some drawings for the building and figured that would probably be the best situation for it. So it'd be a one-way in and a one-way out kind of a thing. And he advised us to leave the dock doors the way they are because he said first of all, they're very expensive to take out. And then the other thing he said is, in 20 or 30 years, if something happens where that building would need to be used as a warehouse again, it would be easy to put that back in. And we really don't need to take them out. They're not really that important to take out. And then the other thing, that we talked about, is hopefully having our offices closer to the warehouse or to the bus storage, just so we won't have to traipse through that building. But those are conversations we can have as we move along, you know.
We talked, once, like I said, once things are finalized and we can we'll contact you, probably Nate, you'll be involved as well, and in MRCI and Enterprise North and everybody together so that they understand that we're going to be there for them just like we had in the past.
Right, yeah,
So-
there'll be no changes for them, so, yeah.
MRCI is going to stay in there.
Yes.
Yep.
That's where they are now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have way more use, they're using that building way more, they don't need as much what they were using in the past, because they're not doing the production there, the sheltered workshop in there anymore, so, it's a lot of wasted space for them that they're not, and at one point, this warehouse, I think, was being leased out to a trucking company.
There's part of the warehouse in the back that was,
Right.
yeah, being leased to a trucking outfit.
Yeah.
That was subleased through.
Through MRCI,
And,
yeah.
end result of that was actually that they really didn't come out ahead.
Did
They
they?
basically broke even because of a tax
Oh.
situation that is created there, and
Oh,
so.
okay.
they-
Really excited about it, and probably as we move forward, maybe even this committee probably would want to meet more often, as we,
Well, I think
would,
so.
if we
Once
would
we decide,
get an architect in
what
there
direction
and
we're
do
going
some
in,
other
what-
things, so, yeah, so this committee probably might have to meet more often as we move forward with that, but again,
I would suggest that, especially when to decide the changes, what needs to be.
right, because it'll be the home to Heartland and Herman Express. I mean, our offices will be there instead of in the License Bureau building, and we won't obviously be using the front of the fairgrounds anymore. So that'll kind of be a big change for us too, that we'll be in the same location as our vehicles. So it's something we're really excited about. Then one of the other things we wanted to visit with, probably with the city, as we move forward, is the snow removal issue. I'm not sure we've ever kind of came to any agreement on that. There's not a whole lot of places that would require that, at this point, but I don't know if we probably want to have a, get together and as we choose stops that are more going to have a shelter at some point, we'll be able to apply for grants for that as well. We'll have to some sort of agreement with the city to maintain those shelters, because they'll be concreted out and there'll be I'm not sure what it'll look like, if it'll be like a shelter that'll be totally covered, or if it'll just be like a lean-to with a bench in there, or what it will look like. But we'll still need to have some sort of agreement with the city for cleaning those spots out. But those are conversation, Joe, that we can have.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think that's something we can discuss with City Manager Dalton, that
Yeah.
offline, we can kind of come work through some of those items.
And we're not there yet. I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't, done anything with any of the stops, so.
This is what I hear the most input on for Herman is the stops and what are you gonna do? Give us shelter and, or is this gonna be like Minneapolis?
Tom, make sure you're using your mic, Tom. No one will be able to hear you if you're not talking into your mic.
Okay. So a lot of concern about shelters. It's for sure it's some of the more popular stops and starts for people, and concerned about will there be seating and
Yeah, and we won't know
where a lot
what
of
that'll
people
look
are at
like,
right now. They love the service, but they don't like standing in wind
in the
and
cold
rain.
weather, yeah. We understand that, So, and we've come to the point where Sarah's gonna share some information about the Herman ridership. We know what it is through from the last time we met till the end of November, and I'm not sure, I didn't run any numbers for
Okay.
December, so.
Then that's fine. Thanks for being willing to at least try. But so back in June, we had 401. In July, 436. 420 in August, 448 in September, 491 in October, and then we broke the 500 barrier in November for 506. And then when I've been compiling the stats, we're averaging about 450 riders a month this year. So every month it's been over 400. We did break the 500 barrier. So very excited about that. And again, a number of new riders or just individuals out at Oakwood Estates. Some of the truck drivers that park out there will actually hop on the bus, head out to Walmart, and then use us that way. So that's been very good too. Other people that are just coming in briefly into town are making use of us. So very happy with those numbers at this point. Did you have anything else you wanted me to cover at this point, or
Go
did
ahead.
you?
Yep, you can do your whole.
Okay. We were able to attend the Minnesota Public Transit Conference. Did you mention that? And so we got to choose some of the presentations we could attend. And then we were able to meet with some different vendors. And we've been talking about the software issue. So we got to meet with Novus. And it's depending what happens with the state and how they're going to, which ones we can meet with or whoever they contract with. I don't know. You'd have to ask Pat more about how that works, but that was at least one that we were excited to visit with. And then also the Indira Electric Bus Sales. There's United Bus Sales. It's the one that works with them. So we got to meet the rep for that, which was valuable, and get some information from them too. So looking forward. We got another driver trained, and we've got a couple more drivers to get trained before they're able to help us out, but very excited to, again, just have a few more in the working, able to help out because different things come up, and just need to have that additional driver. So other than that, I think I just heard you talking about the snow removal, so thanks for doing that. And that's probably the, one thing right now, especially as it's gotten colder, we don't want to be out here very long, and, which ones can we at least get out of the wind a little bit? And so appreciate you considering that. That's it from me then.
Okay. Any other discussion from anyone? How about from the floor? Nope. Why do they call it the Elixir Building is what the question was.
History. That's all. That's who had it before the county had it. Way back. Some things never lose their names.
The Jones Farm is always the Jones Farm, doesn't matter who lives
Doesn't
there,
matter
right?
who lives there.
Nate, did you have anything to add?
Sarah's comment about training new Herman drivers. Herman's on the road from 6 to noon, an hour lunch break, and then from 1 to 6. We don't expect people to drive that 12-hour shift very often. So there's always 2 drivers that are used on Herman, the morning, the AM half, and the afternoon PM half. So we usually use, 90% of the time we're using 2 drivers every day at Herman. So should those 2 regular Herman drivers be out, that's why we're cross-training Heartland drivers to know them all, know all of our routes. Makes it easier to put a monthly driver schedule together when people are more universally trained.
Perfect. Ann, do you have any?
There is a radio upgrade, correct? Can
Yeah.
you get a status update about that?
Yeah, so in 2023, we applied for and received a radio grants, and they were installed last week. They're the Armor radios, so they're very clear. We had a driver out in Comfrey the other day, and it sounded like he was next door to us. So it's really helped improve our radio communication. And then the handhelds that we have also got updated, so they're a lot better. So we purchased enough for each of us to have one in our own home, because when we're on call, that way we have the radio at home with us.
Nice.
So that's been a nice upgrade for Herman and Heartland. So
These radios aren't encrypted though, are they?
they are part of the Armor system. I'm not sure how encrypted they are. I assume that
Separate.
I don't think that anybody in the city would be able to listen to them. I think they're just like the sheriff's type radio, where before people could
Chris
listen
making
to.
a face.
I heard that, yes, they can,
Oh.
if they have,
Oh, they are
They
being.
didn't
oh.
used to be able to, but that's why they're going to encryption, is because somehow connecting through the internet, whatever, that they can actually bring up the regular Armor radio.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But
Wow.
I'll talk to you more about it.
Wow, interesting. So anyways, but it's been a big improvement for us, and so.
Very nice.
Very clear, and it bonks when two people are trying to talk. Before, 2 people could talk over each other and we couldn't hear anyone. So now it lets one of the 2 know that they're not being listened to. So that's been a good upgrade for us. And again, that was a That was a federal grant that we applied for, and most of it, I believe 10% of it is our cost, and 90% is state federal money. So I think it's important to always remember that we, right now we're being funded 95% federal state dollars for our Herman and Heartland, and 5% local match, which we have always been able to do, without any issue. So that'll continue again for 25, the 5% match. After that, the state is kind of up in the air. 24 and 25 was a legislative mandate to be covered at that rate. What the legislature will do in the future, I'm not real sure. So, but
Mr. Chair, did the bus that we were going to gift to the fire department, accepted that and have?
Yep, so I've kind of turned that over to the emergency manager to kind of take that ball and run with it to decide when. I think it'll be more of a springtime, summertime thing. So right now it's sitting up at the highway department out of their way. So it's not, I don't think we're even insuring it, to be honest with you. Because it's basically a worthless vehicle at this point. So the county board did okay as to one of our buses that we were going to sell, that we were having lots and lots of issues with. I got the board to donate it to be used for like a bus rescue. So the emergency manager folks will do some sort of a training with it this coming spring or fall or winter or summer. They won't be burning it, which is kind of what I wanted to do, but they said that it emits too much toxicity into the air, so they don't do that anymore. So yeah.
One spin-off from the donated bus sitting up at the highway department is our two highway mechanics that do side work on our buses. When something goes wrong, are taking parts off of that bus. If there's air conditioning part, there's a circuit board in the back for $400 that now we got a spare for it. Should another newer bus AC go out, we got a backup one. So they are taking the expensive
They're
parts
parting
out
it
of
out.
there.
Getting more value out of that than we would have if we'd have sold the bus.
Right.
Probably.
Right.
Wouldn't take much.
And I'm working with our RTAP committee, which is a training committee, to possibly bring in other folks to watch the emergency, what we do with that bus. I kind of was hoping that they would do a filming of it, but they said they're not into paying for that, so that won't be part of the process. But so there might be other transit agencies that'll come to that as well. So.
They're unique, buses are unique in trying to do rescue out of them. The posts and whatnot are harder and
Right.
not as easy to cut. And whatnot.
Exactly.
It'll be good training for them.
So if there's no other business, we could adjourn. We'd like to set the next meeting date for June 11th.
Back. I think it's something I maybe missed in these meetings.
Sure.
That grandchildren came first. We still talking about when we have the electric buses of splitting the town so that it got to be shorter. Is that still on the?
That's still kind of the plan. The consultant is a little concerned that the electric buses would be able to would run all day. So even though we have two of them, one might run in the morning, one might run in the afternoon, and then we'd still need a gas bus. So the consultants are still kind of weighing out what we'll do. So we're kind of relying on them. So hopefully the plan would be that we'd have two buses, running simultaneously throughout the day. But again, that's kind of to be determined, because there would be an extra cost to do that if we have to have two different buses, But again, those are things that, this committee will be working on. But that is the hope, Tom,
I just know the state, is very concerned always about numbers, and if
Numbers.
our numbers can keep creeping up as they have been, they may be coming to us to help with splitting.
Right, yeah. And there's a fiscal cliff coming financially in the state. And so they're telling us in 8 and 29 and 30, that there could be a time there where we'll be asked to fund transit on a local level with some percent. Nothing was said, of course, they don't know what the numbers are going to look like in 3, 4, 5 years, but they're asking us just to prepare. So that's why, it's important to build the reserves that we've been building too, so that, if that ever comes to that, but
We're good through 26 for funding at
for
this
funding,
point?
yep. And they're confident that the numbers will continue through for the next 3 or 4 years, but then they're telling us there's a cliff. But when I first started, there was supposed to be a cliff in 23, so,
It's pretty
and that
far
never
off.
happened, so,
Legislature will have met a couple times
Right,
between now and
right, so, yeah. Okay, so,
plenty of interest in that.
right, exactly.
And if we're not paying for these electric buses at all, if we did need to
To fund some of
fund
the,
something,
right, yep.
the city is getting off there as well that way,
Right.
so.
Yep, exactly. So setting the next meeting date of June 11th or the 18th, unless we need to meet again sooner because of the Elixir building. Is there a preference for the committee for either of those dates?
Same again.
11th or the 18th of June?
Either'd be fine. Is there a deadline for this grant processing for you?
So as it moves along, there is, and I'm not even sure what the dates are because it's a moving target with them.
Okay.
Like I say, I just applied for the grant for the electric buses. Something that we applied to get the better grant. Now you have to apply for each portion of that.
Okay.
So the next portion will be for the building or for the infrastructure. They're calling it, not the building, because they don't know what everybody's infrastructure is different than. Some are ready to go, already have a building. Some are,
And there is no date set on that? that's a
not yet.
floating date to it,
Not
okay.
yet, nope.
Either date is fine with me.
Okay. Should we just go with the 11th?
Sounds good.
Joe, do you have any?
Either one works.
Either one's fine for you. So we'll go with June 11th of 25, unless we hear something different. If we need to have another meeting for the build out. And then I will let the committee know when we plan to go to Morris to see the electric bus there. And I'll shoot out an email, and anyone is welcome to join that would like to go to that. So with that,
I'm not aware, who is going to do the shoveling of the various,
we haven't really come to an agreement yet because there's really, right now, the stops are more like a sidewalk type stops. So there really is, right now, it's kind of taking care of its own, correct, Sarah? I mean, there's like we're at Linderhof is kind of a issue, but it's in a grass area, so I'm not sure, and you guys, what they do now is you just move up. If it's a snowy area, you'll just move up to a driveway so they can get on, but that's obviously not very safe for us to be in a driveway picking people up because, people don't always pay attention and turn into a driveway or out of a driveway and, with the potential of getting hit. So, but eventually we'll want to have a concreted pad there with some sort of a shelter there. So that's one of the places I can think of.
that's kind of top on your list.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And again, Union, Emerson Union
That's
still would
maybe
like
number two.
a bench, but, yeah, so.
So it'll be noon here at the.
Noon at
council
June
chambers?
18th or June 11th. With that, call the meeting to order or to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.